John Maxwell is a servant leadership expert. I guess he is a Christian. He's written a lot of books, And this is the book that some of us have been reading, which is probably backwards, isn't it?
No.
Is it backwards?
No.
Okay, 15. As you can see, it looks like it's well worn. That would be because Avery sent it for a swim in the bathtub. and it took 3 days with a high-velocity fan on it to get it dry. So, hold on.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, so it's about personal growth. I always wondered why my daddy always was reading a self-help book of some sort. And I just always thought, man, does he have issues or what, you know? Because I was like, why? Why is he always reading this book? So I started with this book, and in chapter 1, it's fast, but it's called The Law of Intentionality. Growth doesn't just happen. And it just woke me up, like, to really realize, holy cow, you don't just, like, growing as a person doesn't just spontaneously happen. No, to grow. It's not a natural process in most people's lives.
Right.
So I was forced to ask this question: how do you think this building that we're in right now was built? Is somebody there? Do you need to go?
I hear you. Can you see me now?
Breeding cow, this is definitely the index I'd be using.
Yeah.
I like your objective of improving body condition, reducing stature, improving
I hear someone else though.
reducing somatic cell cancer, improving reproductive and calving performance, and so forth. I agree 110% with all the innovations.
Mary?
Where did you read that?
It's an email, but Angie forwarded it to me.
Oh,
Mary?
you emailed her.
Email Keith.
Oh.
Mary? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Mary?
What?
Mary? Okay, I think she's muted now. Okay, can you hear me now?
I hear you.
Okay, good. And I see you. Is that your little mini-me beside you?
There's nobody here beside me.
Oh, that's just your couch.
My chair.
So, yeah.
Listen, I am going to have to go in a few minutes because our company is right down the road. They're very late.
That's fine. At least I'm not just talking to myself, though. So I had to, you kind of ask yourself this question: how does this building that you're sitting in right now, how was it built, like your house? And in what order were the parts of the building put into place? And in the book, John said, if you focus on goals, you may hit the goals, but that doesn't guarantee growth. If you focus on growth, you will grow and always hit growth. So, what's the difference between goals and growth?
I don't know.
Hey, Mary, can you hear me?
Mary's muted.
Wait, you're muted. You're muted. Can you unmute, Mary? You're muted, darling. April, you look so cute sitting there.
See my cold sore? It hurts.
Oh, did you put some tea tree? Did you put
Yes, obsessively putting tea tree on it.
tea tree? Try eucalyptus too if you have some.
I am.
Mary,
Every
you're
time
still
it's
muted.
in my mouth.
Put some coconut oil on it too.
I am. I'm alternating, and I
Okay,
put
good.
immerse on it too.
Good.
Here's my person.
So, huh? Hey, Sarah.
Hi.
Mary, can
She's
you
up.
unmute yourself? It should be at the top of your screen in the middle. There should be like a little microphone. You can click that to unmute yourself.
Mine. Yeah. Ooh, my computer's hot.
Yeah. I'm trying to unmute you, Mary, but it won't let me. You have to do it yourself.
Mine's at the top. Is yours?
Yeah, mine's at the top in the middle. There's a little, if you hover over it, it's just to the right of the little person. Well, so goals, to me, the difference between goals and growing, goals is something that's out there. Growing is happening right now. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So there's several traps that, and a lot of these traps, holy cow, when I read it, it was like right between the eyes talking to me. There are several traps that trap you through growth, and there's, I think he mentioned 7. The assumption gap, which is I assume that I'll automatically grow, that's how I was. If one assumes he or she will automatically grow, what is the likely outcome? And how can one know if they're growing or not?
Am I supposed to answer? Because I don't know.
Yeah, that's just kind of rhetorical for you to think about,
Yeah.
especially if you haven't read the book. But the second one is the knowledge gap, is I don't know how to grow. Okay, so I was in that one too. Not knowing how to grow can be a powerful reason to simply not try to grow. And if one does not know how to grow, then one needs to ask those who do. So that's why I feel like this study is a good place to start, because he shows you really how to intentionally grow in your life. And this isn't just for business. For me, this has been huge for my personal life, like getting my home in order and other things. It's knowledge is power, basically, and I didn't realize that I needed more knowledge on personal growth, you know. The third one is the timing gap. It's not the right time to begin. There is a law called the law of diminishing intent. Have you heard of that?
No.
I just heard something. There's
Amanda.
somebody else. It's Amanda! Amanda, can you unmute yourself? You have to go.
Yeah. Our people
All
are
right.
coming.
Well, this will be posted on YouTube. I'll send you the link if you want to watch it later.
Okay.
All right. Love you, girl. Bye. Bye, Sarah.
Bye.
Amanda, can you hear me? Amanda. Mary, you can hear me, right? Nod. Okay. I'm just going to talk like y'all are talking with me and hope that you're hearing me. And we're going to have to work out the kinks when Lydia's feeling better, because Lydia is my technology person and she is not feeling well tonight. So it's just me and my non-technologically advanced self. So we were talking about, wait, I heard Amanda or Mary, somebody. Amanda?
I might.
Yay, it's Mary!
I finally found it.
I see Mary E. What's your last name?
Coburn.
Okay, great. Nice to see you. I hope Amanda can hear me. So you've heard what I've said about the gaps when it comes to personal growth so far, right? Oh, did you hear that? Amanda, is that you? Oh well. So the law of diminishing intent. Do you know what that law is, Mary?
No, I haven't read the book.
Well, it's okay if you hadn't. The law of diminishing intent says the longer you wait to do something you should do now, the greater the odds that you will never actually do it. That one was very powerful to me because I am the world's worst procrastinator. And he quotes in the book a politician named Frank Clark. He says, what great accomplishments we'd have in the world if everybody had done what they intended to do. Most people don't act as quickly as they should on things. They find themselves subject to the law of diminishing intent, which says the longer you wait to do something you should do now, the greater the odds that you will never actually do it. And for me personally, that was huge because I'm naturally a procrastinator, do something at the last minute, fly by the seat of my pants. But that doesn't work with personal growth because personal growth is something that should be like a perpetual, ongoing thing. It's not something that you just perfect at the last second. Like when I was in high school, for instance, it drove my piano teacher crazy. I would memorize my state competition piece 2 nights before the competition. And we've been working on it for months. And it would drive her insane. Well, personal growth doesn't work that way. It doesn't. You don't just wake up one day and say, oh, I'm at a deadline to grow personally. I got to do it. No, it's an ongoing process. And the quicker you get to work on yourself, the quicker the growth will start happening and the more changes you'll see. So what happens the longer we wait to begin our journey? What do you think?
The less likely it's going to happen.
That's right. So what do you think about the idea of starting your journey even though you're scared or unprepared? And this could be personal growth, this could be business growth, but what do you think about starting the journey even if you're scared to do it? What's the worst that could happen? For me, it's the fear of failure. For me, it's like, okay, I see this goal I want, but a lot of times I'm paralyzed by fear because I'm afraid I'm going to start walking towards that goal and something's going to derail me, so why get started in the first place?
Well, I think for me, it's I want everything perfect before I start. I want everything in place before I start.
Is everything going to always be perfect for you to start?
No.
You got to kind of start where you are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy thought. That kind of leads to the next. Well, actually, that's the gap two down from now. The next gap is the mistake gap, which is for me. I'm afraid of making mistakes. One thing he says to remember is that growing is not always a clean and neat pursuit. It's not always going to look pretty. It's not always going to be a defined, cut and dry process. For every person, personal growth looks different. And Robert Schuller asked, what would you attempt if you knew you would not fail? Oh my gosh.
Thanks.
Yeah. So why do we approach goals and things with the mindset we're going to fail from the get-go? Why do we do that to ourselves?
Well, I think we're all worried about what everybody else is thinking about us. But if we'd really stop and think, you know, we aren't really the first thing that's on everybody else's mind.
Absolutely.
You know, they think a whole lot less about us than what they do worrying about themselves.
That's the truth. And have you been to any of the Quan meetings yet?
No, I haven't.
Hold on just a second. I'm trying to help some girls get into the Hangout. Okay. What would you attempt if you knew you couldn't fail? One of the things that Kelly talks about are elephant ropes and how trainers train elephants. They put a small confining rope around that elephant's ankle. And as the elephant grows, they don't change the length of the rope. So the elephant is still confined to the same area to the point when the elephant is an adult that they can take the rope off and that elephant is bound by those invisible lines that it was trained to fall in. And so what are our elephant ropes that hold us back, that cause us to fail?
Well, I think that's different for everybody.
Mm-hmm. I think it has a lot to do with your upbringing and what you were told.
Yes, and just personal circumstances of your current life demands.
There's Amanda.
Sorry, I finally figured it out.
Mary, Amanda, Mary.
Hey.
Hey, it took me a long time, and I don't know if I really have it figured out. I just finally got here.
Well, this is going to be a regular thing that we do, so every time we do it, it's going to get easier for us, okay? We are talking, have you read chapter 1 in this book, Amanda?
So she said.
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks, but I've read it.
Okay, we're
I'm trying
talking.
to go get my book now.
We're talking about the gaps, the 7 gaps that prevent personal growth. Basically, the 7 gaps in the law of intentionality. And we were just talking about the mistake gap, which is number 4. It's I'm afraid of making mistakes. And we were talking about the question by Robert Schuller in the book that says, what would you attempt if you knew you would not fail? And then we were discussing elephant ropes and how, what is it that holds us back from even trying? So once we decide to grow, we must expect mistakes and welcome them as a sign that we're moving in the right direction. So you have to decide, am I willing to make mistakes in order to grow personally? And I hate making mistakes personally.
Oh yeah, I do too. I'll stew over them when nobody else even knows it.
So the next one is one that Mary was talking about a few minutes ago, which is a question that we had and something you can think about. What do you think about the idea of starting your journey even though you're scared and unprepared? And Mary was talking about she likes for everything to be perfect before she gets started on a journey. And so the next gap is the perfection gap, which is I have to find the best way before I start. Where the mistake gap says I can't move out of fear of making mistakes, the perfection gap says I will only move when I have the perfect plan.
Oh, that's me.
Is that you? I think I'm both. I think a lot of times I'm paralyzed by the fear of making mistakes because I don't want to. I want everything to be perfect, so I'm afraid of making the mistakes to disrupt my little perfect bubble that I have planned out.
Yeah.
Mhm. Definitely.
Yep.
So both of your combo too.
Yeah.
So both of the above gaps are simply excuses for not starting at all. The best plans for growing happen as we grow, not before we grow. And that was big for me because it's like it's like you have to start making the movement to grow. Once I started picking up books, Mary, part of our Quantine 6 is to read 15 minutes a day of personal growth books. And this is not like your personal Bible study. This is something beyond that. And so we're currently reading this book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by
Okay.
John Maxwell. And Amanda picked it up at the library. It's really, really good because it's a good starting place because, like you said, like I said before, a lot of people don't know how to grow. And so for me, my plan was I'm not going to make a plan for growth. I'm going to start by learning what growth looks like and learning how growth happens. And so this book was a good starting place for me because I didn't know how to grow personally. I knew, spiritual growth, but I didn't know, like, personally how I could grow. So another gap is the inspiration gap, which is I don't feel like doing it. Can y'all identify with that at all?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. There's only so many hours in the day, and I think I could keep busy for about 72 of them each day.
Yep. Well, out of all the gaps, simple decision, will I do this or not? Will I do this or not? Our pastor said one week, kind of surprised me. I never thought of it this way. When people say, I'm trying to XYZ, trying isn't doing. You're either doing or you're not doing. Trying is an excuse. And I never thought of it that way. Well, I'm trying to read 15 minutes a day. No, you're either going to read 15 minutes a day or you're not. You're going to make the choice to do it or not. So let's discuss this truth. The major difference between those who do it and those who don't do it is those. That sounds easy, doesn't it? And it makes me laugh because it really is that simple, which I need to apply this to my weight loss journey. Just do it. I need to apply this to so many areas of my life. Just do it. That old Nike tagline. Feelings are unreliable. Action will make the difference. What's that sound like, Amanda?
Quan. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Mary. One of the principles in the Quan is that actions, you can always define a leader by their actions. Sometimes you can define a leader by their results, but you can always define a leader or classify a leader by their actions. So, like in our Quantine 6, you have to do 6 actions. 6 actions? Is it 6?
I think so.
Yeah, so we have certain action steps every month, and you can be a part of our leadership team. And all you have to do is do those actions. You don't have to have huge results to be a leader on our team. All you got to do is take action steps. You can't trust your feelings. You're more likely to act yourself into feeling than to feel yourself into acting or into action. So you can't always go on your feelings when it comes to growing. I don't feel like growing. Well, this is what Kelly told me one time. I've struggled in this last year. I don't know if you knew that, Mary, but I've been going through a bad divorce. And it has been a very hard year. And I felt like I had a slump in my business. And Kelly was on the phone one day giving me a pep talk, and he told me that I needed to divorce my emotions from my actions. And that was another one of those that hit me right there. Because if you divorce your emotions from your actions, you're going to always act, whether you feel like it or not. So there are many days that I get up and I make myself do my 15 minutes of reading. Even though I don't feel like it, I take that feeling out of it and I make myself do it. And it's become habit now to do my reading because I was able to step away from, I was able to take my emotions and separate them from what I needed to do every day. So this truth to me is pretty important. You're more likely to act yourself into feeling than feel yourself into an action. What do y'all think?
That's true.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Ah,
How many pages in a journal could you fill with excuses not to start growing? I could write a book, y'all. Well, I have 5 kids. I don't have time. Well, I'm tired because I don't get enough sleep at night. Well, yada, yada, yada.
can
So
y'all
number,
still see me?
no, you went away.
Ah, I've disappeared.
Your
Oh
camera
well, I
did.
can see y'all.
Okay, that's what's important.
Hey, well, I've never been able to see you, Amanda. I mean,
Oh,
I should be able, right?
yeah, you should see her. You should see at the
What I'm
bottom of the.
doing.
It's okay. Your camera's turning off for some reason. So
Ah,
the 7th is the comparison gap. Others are better than I am. I am so bad at comparing myself to other people. Are y'all?
oh yeah, all the time.
Definitely.
There are 2 truths about others. There is always someone better. Always. Rejoice for the better ones, for you will learn from those out in front of you. So, jealousy is a poison, but there are always people that are going to be ahead of you in whatever. So you need to start looking at them and being happy for them for the position they're in, and then seeing what they're doing and learning from it. Learning from their mistakes, if they're transparent, learning from their action steps. What are they doing to grow? What are they doing to grow their business? What are they doing? I just realized I still have my sunglasses on. What are they doing? I was going all fashionable on y'all. This is my running around in the rain hairdo. So learning from others is a very important part of the process. Someone may be looking at you as the better. Ever thought of that?
I haven't a whole lot until lately. I'm getting up in my years, and I'm on kind of one of the senior members in the faculty at school, and it's just really started to sink in the last few years that, yeah, people really do consider me, pretty highly skilled in a couple areas.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, but they do. I still have, more things I want to achieve and know how much I don't know.
Yeah, and one of the things that kind of struck me is that he says I needed to be exposed to bigger and better leaders outside of my own circle. You can learn only if others are ahead of you. I had to get over the comparison gap. I had to learn to become comfortable with being out of my comfort zone. And so with this business, for instance, we like for leaders to identify themselves through their action steps. And one of the ways you do that is to step outside of your comfort zone. Lydia and I were talking today about she is very uncomfortable cold calling people to ask them to have a party. And she has started working on her list of 100 people and has reached out, and I don't know, I think she maybe reached out to 10 people. Several of them didn't even acknowledge her reaching out. I think she reached out to 10 and she booked 2 parties. And so she's learning that to grow, to get beyond her fears, to get beyond her the things that she's allowed to control her actions, is to stay on the edge or the outside of her comfort zone and making action steps in that direction so that personal growth can happen. And those, when you take action steps, results will come. You don't know when they're going to come, but results will come, and that's why you have to stick with it and keep plugging. One more is the expectation gap. I thought it would be easier than this. There's a paradigm that I want you to think about. What is, quote, lucky usually is not. There's a equation I think he mentions in here. It's preparation or growth. Preparation and growth I'm using synonymously, plus your attitude, plus the opportunity, plus your action, which is doing something about it, equals luck. Luck doesn't just happen, you make your luck. So if Rome was not built in a day, how long are you willing to give yourself to grow?
That's hard because unless I write something down and I've got a clear map, it's hard to make myself be patient for the steps in between, to get to the goal.
Well, one of the things you do, hold on, I'm trying to get something off my table without knocking my diffuser and my oils off over here. I got some clary sage and an architect blend running in my diffuser. One of the ways that I solve that problem is my daily to-do list.
Oh yeah, I've got plenty of them.
Well, so one of the things that with growth, that it's not something that you say, well, I'm gonna grow XYZ by XYZ or by whenever. It's something that happens progressively by taking baby steps. And the baby steps that you take initially is reading. One of the things that Kelly said that he read somewhere was, not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are readers. And I thought about that, and it made perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
People that are leading are reading. And 15 minutes is not a long time, but you can read a lot in 15 minutes. Growing starts with preparation. This study, this book, is part of your preparation. So I want to encourage you, Mary, to come along with us and get this book if you can get your hands on it. It's pretty cheap on Amazon, or you can get it at the library. You can probably get it at a bookstore, and it's pretty cheap. But encourage you to come along with us, and let's start digging in and being intentional about growth. One of the things that he says is that you make your plan now. Where do you want to go in life? What direction do you want to go? What's the farthest you can imagine going, and how long will this take? You may not have all the answers to this immediately, but ask them and start exploring them every day. Start thinking about them. Write them down on a piece of paper and put them on your window in your or your mirror in your bathroom, and start thinking, or write them on your bathroom mirror I use my bathroom mirror with a dry erase marker, and I write my short-term goals up there, and I write things that God has done for me and my kids up there, so that, because that's where I am a lot during the day. I work from home, so I go in there and I see my goals and I see what God's done for me. And then the questions, you can write the questions up there, and when you're in there, you can ponder those, and eventually you'll come up with some answers for yourself. One of the things he says is do it now. This is so incredibly important. Do y'all have a watch on?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a watch on, Mary?
No.
Okay,
No.
you got a clock
Don't wear
on
one.
you got a clock on your computer, right? Look on it and tell me
Yes.
when someday strikes.
When what?
When let me know when someday strikes on your clock.
Oh, okay. Okay, I got you.
Now is the best time to start anything. And I think that now is a good time as any. If you keep putting it off and keep putting it off, then you're not being intentional with your growth. Let me just go back. This is it. The greatest danger you face in this moment is the idea that you will make intentional growth a priority later. Don't fall into that trap. Can there be a more insidious word? Later, as in I'll do it later, or later, I'll have time to write that book that's been on my mind for the past 5 years, or I know I need to straighten out my finances, I'll do it later. Later is one of those dream killers, one of the countless obstacles we put up to derail our chances of success. The diet that starts tomorrow, the job hunt that happens eventually, the pursuit of a life dream that begins someday, combined with other self-imposed roadblocks and lock us on autopilot. Why do we do this to ourselves anyway? Why don't we take action now? Let's face it, the familiar is easy, the uncharted path is lined with uncertainties. So this book has a little chart, and I can take a picture of it and post it in the group about what accidental growth looks like and intentional growth looks like. But one of the things you have to get over in any case is fear. The fear of failure, fear of trading security for the unknown, fear of being overextended financially, fear of what others will say or think. You mentioned that earlier, Mary. Fear that success will alienate your peers. Of those, and here they are. Let me get my camera back up. Which one applies to you the most? Can y'all see those?
Hmm.
Probably the unknown.
I think probably making the mistake.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this. Which emotion is stronger, the desire to change and grow, or one of these fears?
Right now, the fear.
Yeah, I've got I would, I don't know, right now I'm kind of in a holding trying to finishing up, other things before I can, really free some time up to do much.
Mm-hmm.
So, here.
So you kind of feel like you've got to get over some things that are currently on your plate.
Right. I mean, I teach school and I'm trying to, wrap that up and move towards retirement,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just, you can work 24/7 teaching school and you still can't do it all, so.
Yeah. How close are you to retiring?
Well, it might be 6 weeks.
Wow.
Oh
You
my
know, it might
goodness.
be. I really should go 2 more years, but I really should go 3 more years, but I'm really trying to figure out how to do it in 6 weeks.
Well, I tell you, uh, you can make it happen. Uh, how cool would that be in 6 weeks to walk out and know that you were done? I'm sure it's changed a lot since you
Oh,
started teaching.
yeah, well, I mean, I taught and I took 20 years off and then I went back.
Oh my
And
goodness.
yeah, it's not very pleasant nowadays.
Yeah. Well, then this is where you both this will fit for both of you. How do you facilitate growth in your life? You lead it. When you live this law, you will show others the way and empower them to learn it and live it too. Applying the law of intentionality to your life. So let me go back over these gaps and be thinking about which is your greatest challenge. The assumption gap, which is I assume I'll automatically grow. The knowledge gap, I don't know how to grow. The timing gap, it's not the right time to grow. The mistake gap, I'm afraid of growing. The perfection gap, I have to find the best way before I can start growing. The inspiration gap, I don't feel like growing. The comparison gap, others are better than I am. And the expectation gap, I thought it would be easier than this.
Now that you read them again, I could probably claim about half of them.
Yeah, me too. How about you, Amanda?
Well, yeah. The biggest one would probably be the mistake gap.
That one's a big one for me. Mistake and perfection go hand in hand for me.
Yeah.
So let's go over this real quick. I want y'all to think about these things, and if you can, jot down some notes. Um, want to really grow? Take some time and write out a growth plan to address which area above applies to you, and take the first step today to grow. Look at your calendar for the next year. Schedule specific, timed, and focused growth plans. If you think you don't have to time to schedule something else, imagine what last year could have looked like if you had scheduled plans for growing. Remember, growing is not a goal, but a lifelong process that must start with being intentional. While scheduling growth time may seem simplistic, it is the beginning of action intention. So for me, what that looks like, or what that's looked like, is reading 15 minutes a day. And then when I have extra time, I've been signing up for various webinars that I come across online for personal growth for my team type stuff, team building things. But starting with the 15 minutes a day, what is that?
My dogs have started howling.
Oh, funny.
Seriously. I have 3 Rottweilers outside, and they have started howling. I know,
Oh, how
it's funny.
Probably
funny.
a siren.
Yeah, I thought that was your dog, Amanda.
Mine's asleep.
So, so 15 minutes. As a mom, sometimes I lock myself in my bathroom for 15 minutes at a time. I'm just being real here. 15 minutes on your lunch break. 15 minutes right before you go to bed. 15 minutes while you're eating your breakfast. I want to encourage you to start reading 15 minutes a day. It will change you. I have already noticed a big change in myself. And so now I've got to work on my growth plan. My plan initially was 15 minutes a day of reading, and I'm doing that. So now I'm going to add to that. The next chapter is called The Law of Awareness. And I'm really excited to read this one, or to go over this one. It says, you must know yourself to grow yourself. No one can produce great things who is not thoroughly sincere in dealing with himself. And so this is really exciting because you've really got to become aware of your tendencies and your sense of direction and that kind of thing. So we're going to have hopefully next week we'll do this again at some point. I don't know what night. I'm going to take a poll, see what night's good for people. But the other thing I want to talk about is a list blitz. Did y'all listen to Barb's call about let me go back and pull it up. If you log into your back office,
Well, my answer will be no, because this is the first thing I have done.
Yay! When did you join? What was your join date?
I don't remember. Honestly, don't remember. I mean, I have not. I've been sitting here and not doing anything. You know, I'm except using oils.
Yeah. Well, that's a good place to start. Who's your upline? Who sponsored you?
Lydia.
Okay. Lydia is my girl. Okay, well, if you sign in the back office, over on the left side is Bob Gerson's document downloads. There's the Franco contact list and the Sweet Smell of Bookings video. I want you to watch that video tonight, if you can, if you got time. And then I want you to start your Franco list. And I am going to have a week-long blitz where there'll be a drawing for everyone that hits 100 on their Franco list, 100 contacts. You're going to be entered into a drawing. I've got this little keychain zipper pouch with little bitty drams in it for oils that I'm going to give away this week. So, well, you've got till next Sunday to watch the Sweet Smell of Bookings video and make your Franco contact list. Now remember, the steps to become a leader are your actions. So you may not book something right off the cuff, but you've made the action steps to making your contact list. Have you made your list of 100 people yet, Amanda?
No, I've not.
Well, me either. I've got a pretty good running list, but not like I should. So we're going to have a list blitz this week. And I want to see a list of 100 on your contact list. Mary, I am so glad you came.
Well, I got to learn something new.
And I'm so excited to have you on the team. And if there's any way I can help you, you let me know. And please come back and hang out. Now that we've got it figured out, it should be easy next time, right, y'all?
Maybe. I hope so.
Do y'all think we need to stick with 9, or do you think 9:30
Well, I
would be
think
better?
I kind of got your act out.
Huh? What'd you say?
I'm sorry, what?
What'd you say?
I said, I don't, I said, I accidentally got here this time. I said, I don't know if I can, repeat it.
Well,
No.
I gave the wrong link. So next time I'll know which link to give for people to get on right and it not take us 45 minutes to get connected. So next time it'll be hopefully a lot easier. But I'm hoping to schedule something next weekend or next week sometime. Where do you live, Mary?
Louisiana. Southeast Louisiana.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. How far are you from Mobile?
Gosh, uh, 3 hours,
Oh,
probably
okay.
3 hours approximately.
Well, next time you're over that way, you ought to stop in and see corporate office.
I just, when I got the first box, I saw it came from Mobile. Um, I didn't realize it was until I got the shipping box.
Yeah, not far. Well, do y'all have any questions?
Nope.
Amanda, we gotta find a location.
I know.
It's coming up
Ugly
quick.
mug, big and
Yeah, probably so. We just need to call her
yeah.
and
I wish
set
we could
it
go
up.
somewhere
We need to
else.
get. I know. I wish. I wish Cabin Coffee was open already.
May?
I'm gonna
Is it
hang on.
May?
Yes, May. I'm gonna stop this broadcast. We can keep talking, but I'm gonna stop.